interviewing Dan Namaya. He is our Student Association President at AIIAS. And Dan, tell me what country you're from and what program you're in at AIIAS.
I'm from Uganda,
Okay.
the eastern part of Africa, and I'm doing my Doctor of Ministry. I'm now in the writing stage in the Applied Theology Department.
Okay,
Yes.
so you're coming close to the end.
Yes.
You hope so.
Yes, hopefully. Yes.
All right. Dan, did you grow up in an Adventist home? Tell me about your background.
Yes, I grew up in an Adventist home.
Mm-hmm.
My father was a Catholic, my mother was a Protestant, but when they met, they got baptized.
Okay.
Yes, my father just discovered the truth and he gave Bible study to my mother, so they got baptized. So when we came, they were already Adventists, so we grew up in an Adventist family.
So tell me about God's leading in your life.
Yeah, thank you so much for the privilege to share God's leading in my life. I look back to how I think I had an encounter with God, and I look back to when I was around 16 years old.
Okay.
I grew up in an Adventist home, but I think it was when I was 16 that I surrendered my life fully to Jesus. And it all began with a broken heart.
Oh, tell me about that.
Yeah, I was in high school, I remember, and my friends, I had should I call it a gang or a group of friends?
Yes.
And most of them, I think all of them had girlfriends, and so kind of peer pressure, I always wanted to have one. And I started looking, and I found one, and we started, got into a relationship, and I thought this would be my future wife. You know, everything was good.
At 16 years of age.
That was actually, yeah, around 16 years of age, around 15, around that age. Yeah, so I thought this is it. We are so happy together, and I usually say that I like the promise she made to me. She said, Dan, I'm going to love you until the Indian Ocean dries up.
Oh.
So to me, this was so amazing. It will be maybe forever and ever because the Indian Ocean will never dry up.
Right.
But actually, our relationship did not last more than 2 weeks.
Oh my.
And we broke up due to some, we could not get along each other together. Yes. And this was one of the hardest time of my life. Actually, I've not studied about love, but I think I need to study about it. It can destroy lives.
Yes.
Because at that time, even our parents could not understand what is boyfriend, girlfriend all about. Because when you are ready to marry, then you go into a relationship, courtship, then you didn't have like, oh, I have boyfriend, girlfriend. They didn't encourage that.
Oh, I see.
So I was so brokenhearted. I remember leaving school so early in the morning. I felt like I just want to commit suicide. It's like my world was ended.
Feelings are very strong at that age.
Yes.
Teenagers feel very deeply.
Now I know. Now
Yes.
I begin to know. So I went home, and I remember going across the bridge and feeling that I should even jump and fall there and die. So it was very serious.
Yes.
But I also remember that dying was not easy. As I tried to jump in there, I was afraid of it. Especially when I looked down at river now, there had not been crocodiles. This was the first time I saw a crocodile. It was brought down there. That's the first time. And when I looked down and wow, I see a crocodile, I was so afraid.
Yes.
And I said, maybe I'll die next time. So I went on. I went home. And I think when I look back, I see how God was leading me step by step, even in moments that we have made, maybe should I call them wrong choices. But then I went home and I told my mother, my father, I am tired of schooling. I want to take a break. And it was shocking to them. And they tried, why? I could not say anything. I said, I just want to take a break. And for the next 4 years, I never went to school.
Wow.
So it was a very tough time for me. My friends finished their school, including my former girlfriend finished her school. They were going on with life. What was I doing? My daddy began my business of selling old clothes. Here in the Philippines, they call them okay. It was the business of my dad, my mom, and so he began for me this business. That's what I was doing. And for 4 years, I stayed at home. This was a very tough time of my life because
You were really stuck.
I was stuck, and knowing that I had big dreams, I looked to a good future and to become somebody. But now I'm looking to a dark future where I'll become a nobody, no education and nothing. I'm just going to live as an okay boy and die as an okay boy. So these thoughts bothered me so much. Every day I would sit and think until I began praying, Lord, please give me a chance. I remember one of my favorite songs was, Lord, lift me up and let me stand again. Yeah, because I thought God had better plans for me. This was the time that God led me. I was not going to school, so I spent most of my time in church. Before I could not attend full camp meeting, this time I had no studies, nothing, so I stayed full camp meeting 1 whole week at church.
Wow.
And it was during 2016 when God spoke to me, I believe. The preacher was preaching. I was sitting in front, and I've never been so interested in a sermon like that that time. And I could hear God say, then I want you to preach like that. And every
Evangelism.
time, yes, evangelism. Every time he finished, I would go to the back and hug him, and I want to share this message. And he would put his hand on my head, and he would pray for me. He said, God bless you. Until the last Sabbath, I would come every night, and he realized I was very serious, and he prayed for me. Actually, this was Pastor Geoffrey Mbwana. He's now in the General Conference working there.
Yeah.
So he prayed for me, and I think that was the beginning, because then I went home, began practicing his messages, and I began preaching them.
Oh.
And people were calling me Little Mbwana.
So you took Pastor Mbwana's messages and just practiced them so you could do them.
And I preached them, and people had, I had this. This was a message of Pastor, this is another Mbwana. So I did preach them, and many encouraged me. My church pastor especially now rests in the Lord, passed away just a few years ago. He encouraged me so much and said, Dan, keep going. I think there's a gift in there. Not only that, he brought me with him, and then he taught me how to preach. He gave me sometimes big audiences to preach, and I think this was so wonderful. And one day as I was preaching in a camp meeting, a youth leader comes to me and said, Dan, I think you should go to the Philippines and join 1,000 missionary movement. It will be a great opportunity for you. You're not studying, you can go there, and maybe you can even find ways to continue your studies there.
And for those who don't know Thousand Missionary Movement who are watching, can you just briefly, in a few sentences, describe what that movement is?
Yeah, it is an organization that trains, an Adventist organization that trains missionaries. Missionaries come here, the main headquarters here in the Philippines, trains them and sends them to different parts of the world. And they serve mostly for 1 year, and then they can go on with their life.
And I believe it was started by a professor at AIIAS.
Yes. It was, he was
Jerry
a dean.
Young Lee.
Yes. And it was an amazing story how we started that.
So you came.
So I came. I remember coming was very tough, because when I told my dad, he had never heard about Philippines. So he goes to the map, and he looks at the map, and he sees Philippines and Uganda very far. He says, son, you want to go all this far from us? But I was determined. I wanted to change my life. I wanted to be away from my country. I wanted to start all over again, and I could see God was leading me. So he looked at the cost. He said, I can't afford all this. And so my mother came in and said, okay, I see how Dan is determined, I will help. And so that night, my mother went to her friends and she borrowed money.
Wow.
She brought. So I also went to my church members, my friends, and I said, please, I want to go be a missionary. Could you help? And friends gave me, and I got from here and there. And when I brought home, Daddy also put in something, my brother, and I had money enough for the ticket.
Wow.
And here's something amazing, because I had friends from AIIAS, a family who was from Uganda also, who were guiding me. They had been also connected to 1,000 Mission Movement. So they were guiding me how to come. And the night before I came, I'm very excited. They called me and said, Dan, you're ready to come, but there's something that we missed. You didn't get a visa.
Uh-oh.
I only knew about ticket. I didn't know how to get a visa and all that.
Yeah.
They said that if you don't get a visa, you have a hard time. But I thought if I stay, because our Philippine embassy was in Kenya, I have to fly again to Kenya.
Yes.
And get the visa and come back and fly. So I thought, I had no more money at all. I thought if I stay the next day, I bought the ticket, and the brethren see me who have given me their money, they will think this man is a thief. And I could end up in prison. So I told them, no, I'm coming. I have to come. I have to come. So they said, okay, we're praying for you. And I came. And when I got to Hong Kong, they stopped me. And they asked me, where's your visa? You know, I came with a passport that was empty.
Brand new passport.
Brand new passport. Nothing is inside. I'm traveling to the Philippines. So the security at Hong Kong wondered, where are you going? And I could show them the letter from one of the missionary movement, but they could not know what is missionary. So they put me aside, interrogated me for quite long, and I thought this is the end, maybe, because they were very tough, brought computers, put my passport in there, checked my documents to see if maybe I was a drug dealer or something of that kind. But after a few hours, one of the soldier guides me, some other soldiers following me, and I went to a booth where the lady asked me, so, because I was renewing my ticket on every stopover, I get another ticket. She asked me, Dan, where do you want to sit? At the window, the side, or... Then I said, where? Going where, actually? To Uganda or the Philippines? I wanted to hear I'm going to the Philippines.
Yes.
And when she said to Philippines, I was so happy. And I said, it doesn't matter where you put me on the plane, back, wherever, as long as I'm going to the Philippines. And I was so happy. It was a miracle because the soldiers still escorted me to the gate.
Wow.
Now I enjoyed this last one because now I know I'm going to the Philippines, and then I'm escorted by soldiers. And back home, when you're escorted by soldiers,
You're very important.
you're a VIP.
Yeah.
So I said, let me enjoy this one moment in my life. I felt like I should wave at the people. They escorted me, and people were looking, wondering, wow, up the gate, and I made sure I've entered in the gate, checked in, and I came to the Philippines. I got in the Philippines. They checked my invitation letter, called 1,000 Mission Movement, and they say, yes, we are waiting for him and we'll process his visa. And they allowed me in. So that it was a miracle.
Yes.
It was a miracle because, you know, many families have come and they have been returned back. And I think if that happened to me, maybe that might be the end again.
Yes.
But I came and I joined 1,000 Mission Movement, and I had learned about AIIAS before. My aim, I wanted to have a way of studying again. Because when my pastor was telling me, he said, when you go there, don't just be a missionary, go beyond that, study theology, so you can become a pastor. And I thought about if someday I could study at AIIAS. And I remember even before going to the mission field, I came to AIIAS to see if I could enroll. But I realized that I could not, because academically I was not qualified. I was a high school dropout.
Yes.
And here I want to join AIIAS.
And you wanted to go to graduate school.
You cannot join AIIAS because your papers are lacking.
Yes.
Wow. So I left, but in my mind I said, okay, but someday I will return to this place. So I went, I was assigned in Mindanao. I stayed there for 1 year in my mission field. There is something amazing that happened. I went to study, and as soon as I arrive, I have made a contract with 1,000 Mission Movement that I will serve for 1 year.
Yes.
As soon as I arrive, I was preaching on Sabbath school. Here comes the president of one of the colleges there, and said, Dan, I'm giving you free tuition, I'm giving you a job, you are becoming my employee, my school evangelist, come right away and start working.
Wow.
This is my dream, I want to start, this has happened. But one of the laymen reminded me, Dan, remember you made a commitment for 1 year in the mission. Here's a big opening, but remember your commitment. And
you made a promise.
You made a promise to God. By the way, there were many missionaries who came and used the 1,000 as a stepping stone. After arriving, right, they go to the different businesses. And
right.
I'd seen some of them, so I remained focused on what I had committed to. And after 1 year, it was amazing because God sent me to Mountain View College. Very nice school, very expensive. Actually, I had no money, but the church where I was serving as a missionary, they said that we're going to support you. We have seen the gift in you. You're not a Filipino, you're African, but we will support you. Because they said, I will never forget what they said. They said, we are supporting you because we are supporting God's mission. Not about being Filipino African, no, we are supporting God's mission. I think that touched my heart. So that night, the vice president of Mountain View College, vice president for academic affairs, Dr. Alce Rosario at that time, comes to visit my church. And the brethren cried to her, said, please, we have a missionary. Can you please help him? And so she said, okay, I'm going to help him. And she took me to Mountain View College with her back, and I became her working student. I worked in her house. My work was to take care of, she had cows, 2 cows, and I take care of them. And she helped me to start. And she was a great support to me throughout my studies. So I worked for a few years, and she connected me to the church. So I worked in the church. We called ourselves church boys. We clean the church and
Church boys.
church boys. In fact, the church boys, most of them are pastors and everything. So when we meet, we remind ourselves. And so my dream was still to come to AIIAS, actually. Even my room, I had a picture there, AIIAS.
Oh, wow.
And after 4.5 years of God's leading, by the way, 2 years before I finished, God sent me a sponsor, still a Filipino from, she's based in the US, who helped me through. And when I finished, I rushed back again at AIIAS. And so now I have my college, my degree. And by the way, before finishing Mountain View College, I met a wife, someone who would be my wife.
Yes.
When I joined 1,000 Mission Movement, I was brokenhearted.
Yeah.
But as I served, God introduced me again to somebody who would become my wife. And we became friends. And actually, she didn't like me because she never expected any black person to become her husband. She never had that kind of dream. But I was interested in her, and I started, trying to be close to her. And I learned that she had come to 1,000 Mission Movement because she was also disappointed. Her sponsor, she was studying at Mountain View College, taking up nursing. In the second year, her sponsor stopped suddenly. So she has nowhere to go, nothing to do. She said, let me just go and join 1,000 Mission Movement. So she comes because she was disappointed. And
So she had to drop out of college.
Yeah, she dropped out of college and stayed home for a while. She has nothing to do. She said, okay, let me go to 1,000. So we meet. Then we became friends. And after our training, I'm sent to Mindanao. She's sent to Central Philippines for a while, and then she's called back and sent to Korea. After serving there, I also finished serving as a missionary. We meet again at Mountain View College. So I renew my courting again and friendship. Her parents stayed nearby. I went to her house and I asked her parents for permission. That is how it is in the Philippines. You don't court without permission. You go to the parents and ask.
Oh.
So I asked them, I would like to court your daughter, and they allowed me. So after my graduation, we got married. She finished 1 year ahead and she was working and she was supporting me. And we got married. We didn't have money actually. I remember during our wedding, we had just wedding in the garden outside, and there were flowers already there. And we invited friends, and we said, please come and bring your own food. We don't have food. We have nothing, so just come. And friends came, brought their food. It was a nice wedding. We finished. And I tried again enrolling at AIIAS. So they say, you have your papers now, but you're not financially qualified. And so I left again, but God sent me and my wife to work in Indonesia. We went as missionaries. We served their church. After 1 year, we come back to AIIAS. And we enroll together. Actually, at first I thought I should enroll alone because all the money we had brought would be spent in one semester.
Oh, wow.
The normal, that was maybe risky.
Yes.
She said, why don't we save? You study first, I stay. And so we have something saving. I began for 2 weeks studying alone. I said, no, but let's just go together. So we put everything in there. And we knew there were scholarships at AIIAS that could help looking to that. And after one semester, I applied for scholarship. I didn't get.
Oh.
So we have no money to continue. And there's no scholarship. So nothing. What shall we do? God provided. God sent someone. Actually, it was our church. The church we were working before. She said, okay, I'm going to be in for you for this semester. So she gave to my wife. And my wife paid for herself. Now, what I like about AIIAS is that couples, you have one account.
Yes.
So when one drops in, it is for both. So when she dropped in, I was also allowed to continue, of course, with the big debt. And that's how every moment, I think God was saying, don't trust in scholarships or anything, just trust in me. And we finished our masters, and for all those years, God was providing. We started and finished, and I started my doctor of ministry. And all along, my dad did not know how I was surviving for all these years. But when I sent back my pictures, I finished my master's, I'm taking my doctorate, Daddy cried. And he sent a long message. Because you're going to Philippines to be a missionary, how will you survive?
Yeah.
What will you get after that? No degree, nothing. But then he realizes now I'm a missionary, I have served, but I also have, I'm academically growing also in my education. So
it was a testimony to your family of God's
it
care
yes,
as well.
even up to now, they're so amazed.
Yeah.
And so I think, yeah, that's how God has led us, and He is still leading us. Right now, my wife is working
Yes.
at AIIAS. It's a miracle. We never expected that. We thought we'd be here for a short while and then we'll leave. And
I know many people are dreading her leaving because she's a wonderful editor. Sherry Namaya is very famous here.
Yeah,
but so are you. God has been preparing you to lead, and you don't know where that will end.
yeah, I committed to a church in Indonesia. The man has been supporting me. He said, Dan, why don't you give at least 2 years to my church and to serve? And I was so happy to do that. Because when I was nowhere, I said, Lord, if you would send somebody to help me, maybe I can get a loan. Somebody takes me through college and then I'll pay back by working for that person. I am willing. And God did it. And He sent somebody, and somebody said, okay, then I'm going to help you. And He paid our tuition at AIIAS. He's helped us every time. And He did not demand that you will pay back, but then He asked, why don't you give a few years? And I'm so glad. I mean, however years you asked, because I was just nothing. You allowed to be used by the Lord. And the temptation is, now we are determined, after finishing, we go. All of a sudden, God gives job to my wife. And then now we are into thinking, well, no, we're going to leave this job and go to a church.
Yeah.
But my wife again reminds me, we have a commitment.
You have a commitment.
And we have to live by that commitment and leave everything.
And God has something to teach you there in Indonesia as you minister.
Yes, and leave everything to God. So that is God's leading. There is one more thing. When we get married, we say we'll not have baby. Until we are sure we can take care of the baby. Because we have suffered, and we don't want a child again to suffer like us. We want to be sure. I mean, we have faith, but we want also to go into presumption. We want
financial stability.
Yes, we want to use God's wisdom and knowledge to think. So, but we realize we're getting old. And I realize if you wait until God puts everything is straight, you will never. You got to trust the Lord when the time is right, and just let God lead. So we waited and waited and said, let's just have baby. So we had something little like this. We were staying outside AIIAS. So we had a baby. My wife became pregnant, and I every day prayed. I talked to my baby in the womb, said, please, come out normally. Because we saved money, just like 30,000, enough for normal delivery. A good
healthy baby.
A good healthy baby and normal delivery. So we are waiting. Everything is good. A month after month, we go check up. Everything is normal. Until the last 4 delivery came, and the baby's not coming out. Another week goes extra. Another week goes extra. She was, I think, around 42. She went beyond, and now what is happening? Until time came, she was taken to the hospital. She's supposed to deliver, but the opening is not yet, ready.
Big enough.
Big enough. And she waited for 15 hours, being induced. The doctor says, time is up. We have to do surgery. Surgery. Yeah. Wow. Now I saw the bill running up to around 90,000. We don't have anything like this. The surgery went on well. The baby's out, but where are we going to get this money? Yeah. And I don't want to come to AIIAS to beg. I didn't like this because this is our business, and I don't want to begin putting people into a business that we have come up, and it's none of people's business to burden them this way. I don't like such. So I prayed the Lord, please, I don't want to burden. And I don't know, but something came to me, and I called my friend from Indonesia who had been helping us. And I called, I told him the situation. He told me, Dan, where should I send the money? And in a few hours, he had sent already 90,000. I got it, and I paid, and we left the hospital. Wow, I left. I was amazed. I thought, wow, it's a miracle. Yeah, it's a miracle.
I think God blesses especially the people who give to support the preparation of new leaders. I've seen so many people who give to scholarships and support of students here, and they have a trust in God that He'll take their money and use it to create the next generation of leaders, and I think that's what your sponsor has been doing.
And maybe there could be those who are watching who have been sending support to AIIAS, like the Chanchon and AIIAS Scholarship. This is the help that has carried us through.
Yes.
So when I start to think, I wonder, where should I begin? Because God has used different people in amazing ways that some even we do not know, who have sent help, others we have never met. So I wonder, if I begin thanking people, how can I make not to forget anybody? Yeah, so I feel so grateful and thankful to
Now
God.
I see you out just about every morning with your daughter.
Yes.
Tell us about her name and why you chose that name.
Yes, my daughter we named her Witness, Danielle Witness. We thought we would have a boy because my dream was I wanted to be Daniel.
Oh, yes.
But, and I told my friends, I'm Daniel, my father, no, you're not Daniel, you are Dan. So I thought I would call my son Daniel. But when we had a daughter, my wife said, we can have Daniel. Daniel is his name. And then Witness, because we want Witness to grow up knowing how God has led his parents. And to know that God is able to lead people, to be a witness. And to, based on that, to testify to the world that God is able. That's why as we bring her up, we try to sing for her songs, God is able, Jesus loves, and all these things. And we want her to know the story of her parents and to know that God's leading is amazing, so she can be a witness.
A witness of that.
Yes.
Plus the things that will happen in her life. And we all think she's darling.
Yeah, we praise God for. So yeah, I walk her every morning and just trying to get her to see nature and to appreciate God's things at an early stage of her life.
That's wonderful.
Yes.
So my final question is, I suppose it could be a long one, but how has AIIAS helped to build you for leadership?
Yes. I think AIIAS has helped me in many ways, others that I could not be able to think about. Actually, I was asking my wife where I go, could you know, because sometimes I could know some things but they didn't come into my mind.
Yeah.
But one of those that I can highlight is the people I have met at AIIAS. This is the one place where I have met gifted and intelligent people, beginning with professors. We are taught by Hebrew teachers who are experts.
Yes.
We are taught by Greek teachers who are experts.
Yes.
You know, professors, they speak Hebrew, they speak Greek.
Yeah.
Some of our classes, when we started, others would say, wow, my teacher in college didn't do anything. He was joking with us. And wow, because the teacher has taken us deep. And that's a privilege to learn from an expert. Yes. Despite of this, these people are so humble. That's what amazes me. We sit in an amphitheater. We have worship, and you sit at the back, and you look in front of you. You see experts, but these people are so humble that if you don't read about them, you never know how
accomplished they are.
How accomplished they are.
Yeah.
My wife was part of the team that was helping in accreditation.
Yes.
So she had the privilege of having these files, and every time she keeps it, wow, Dan, this professor is just simple. He's a big man. Yeah. We cannot know. But you go to some places, she was in a government school, and people, right away you enter, you will know this one has accomplished, because people write accomplishments everywhere.
Yes.
So the humility of people here has helped me to know that actually leadership is not about, showing what you have accomplished, but being humble. And we have had a close relationship with teachers. Back home, I don't know now, I've been out for 10 years, but that time there was always a gap between professor and student. A professor is a professor, and a student is a student. But we come here and we feel like a family. You are close with your professors despite of all that they know. I remember one incident when my professor, I took statistics under him.
Yes.
And he was encouraging me. I was not doing so well. I wasn't catching this. Dan, please, you have to work so hard, get your friends. And so at the end, I get a B minus. And
that's a B minus?
B minus.
Okay.
B minus.
Okay.
When I check in the bulletin, I realized B minus is a passing grade, but in my department, applied theology, it is not accepted. You need to get above B minus.
So you have to retake.
I have to retake.
Yeah.
So I decided I'm going to retake. So one day as I go to the market, I am waiting by the roadway. This professor comes with his car, with his wife, and he said, "Oh, Dan, where are you going?" I was with my friend. "Where are you going?" "I'm going to the market." "Come in, come in." So he gets me in and we talk. So I'm looking, what should I say? I said, "Oh, by the way, sir, when are you teaching this class again?" And he says, "Next semester." "Why?" "I have to retake it." "What? Why? Why have to retake it? You have taken credit for one whole term." I said, "Because I failed." He said, No, you did not fail. You got a B minus. It's a passing grade. I said, "Yeah, because in my program, it is not acceptable." He said, No, you don't have to retake it. Come to my office and see me. I have been your teacher for 1 whole semester. You don't have to go through the whole class again.
Huh.
So I go to his office, and he gives me a test to do it again. He gives me some statistics questions. You know, at this time, he was an acting dean of the graduate school.
Oh, wow.
He's so busy, but he gives time to attend to me. And so I take the test, and I go and I do it again. And when I brought it back, he checked it and checked and checked it and said, "Okay, it's good enough." Then this is already after, I think, already 1 semester.
Yes.
He goes to the office, and he tells them, "I want to change the grade of my student." And he changes it. This was a long process because it will take meetings and all that.
Yes.
Wow, I think this is sacrifice.
This is very unusual.
It's very unusual.
Yeah.
And after a few months, my grade became B.
Wow.
B. That's already passing. But I was so amazed because he's not just a teacher, he's a parent. And he does not need to do this, but this taught me, as we lead people, and not just to do our responsibility and that's all, but to go an extra mile. And then I've seen his life, he's someone who goes an extra mile. And I said to myself, if someday I will teach, I have to be careful always to go an extra mile. Or when I will lead, to go down to the people and know whatever help that I can give.
It's not about your pride, but it's about service.
It's about service.
Yeah.
And that's what I think I learned, the myriad of people. And also being in an environment with people from different kind of places of the world helps me to know how different people act, how we can deal with different kind of people. So this has also helped me to know how to deal with people, which now leadership is about dealing with people. So I think in these 2 aspects of life, just looking at people and learning from their humility and mingling from different parts of the world has helped me to prepare me to be into a place to serve. Yeah, to serve.
Thank you, Dan, so much for sharing with us your experience.
Yes.
And God bless you and your family as you go on to ministry.
Yes, thank you too for such a wonderful program that we can have a privilege to share our God's leading in our lives. Yes.